All right, we're live. It's Amish Country Mets fan here with my boy Chris from the What's the Static podcast. Here to break down the two abysmal games we just watched. How's it going, buddy?
Doing well. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I like the live setup, the nice studio here, so I definitely appreciate you having me on.
Anytime, bud. I want to do these more often for sure.
Definitely. I think the post games are definitely something that is needed with the current status of the New York Mets, like we're going to get into here.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll jump in with my thoughts and then I'll kick it to you.
Sure,
Um,
sure.
I'll start with the first game. Looked like we had it in hand. Joey Lucchese started off rough. He wasn't fooling anybody today. They were teeing off on him pretty good. I think he only went like 4 innings. Uh, Yacobonis came in though and shut him down, which was nice to see. Um, yeah, so it looked good. The offense didn't look bad. Lindor got a big hit, big homer. I think everybody got a hit except for Guillorme, maybe. I
Pretty on
think.
par.
No, no, no.
Pretty on par.
Actually, no. It was Nimmo. Nimmo didn't get a hit. Everybody got a hit except
That's
for
right.
Nimmo.
That's right.
So Nimmo's been slumping a little bit. Um, so yeah, we looked like we were going to get a W, and then Jesse says a lot better than yesterday, Chris. um,
Oh, yeah, my boy
comment.
Jesse's in here. Yep. What up,
um,
Jesse?
what up, Jesse? But yeah, it looked like we were going to get a W, and then Ottavino comes in. Listen, I can't get too mad at him. He hadn't pitched for what, over a week with being gone on paternity leave and whatnot. So I mean, coming out of that game, I wasn't too upset. I was like, all right, we lost one. We should have had it, but we got Max going tonight. It'll be all right. We can salvage a split and move on from there. Then we get to Max, and he just didn't have it at all. And I know a lot of people are saying he's washed. I'm about ready to go there, but I'm not yet just because he hadn't pitched in what I think it's like 3 weeks maybe since he's pitched. Any pitcher without any like type of rehab or in between start would I think would struggle a little bit. It's just when you add it to the other starts he's had this year, he hasn't looked good at all. Although he did, like I was talking to you earlier, and he did go 8 innings scoreless before he got suspended or thrown out of the game and then eventually suspended. So that gave me hope that he was turning it around. But yeah, this game certainly doesn't provide much confidence. The offense just didn't get going at all. That's the problem. Like the offense, I'm not worried about it so much, but it's inconsistent. It's too inconsistent. I mean, Lorenzen is not a good pitcher. There's no reason we should have got. He should have been able to go 7 innings, only one run. Um, so I don't know. That's my initial thoughts. What do you think?
I'm thinking a lot of things. Before I start this off, I will say shout out to Knicks for bringing out some joy in the New
Some
York
joy,
sports fan
yeah.
base with the Rangers obviously getting eliminated right before that, and then the Mets putting up a stinker all day today. So I will say shout out to Knicks. Let me start with one positive. I know there's limited positives to go out of today, especially, but one thing that I wanted to just shout him out for is Francisco Alvarez. I was sort of just watching the tail end of the last few innings in game two. Obviously, he didn't get the start. Nito was in there game one. But for game two, a young kid like that, when the score is a little bit lopsided, not sure if he had a hit to that point or not yet, but behind the plate defensively, he looked very locked in for all 9 innings. That is something you want to see out of a young catcher at his age. He's back there engaged. He was doing some pickoff communications with Buto, trying to get through the communication set with that. He was backing up the outfielder's throws. Obviously, Nemo caught a fly ball, was trying to pick the guy off at first base. He was right there. If he had not been backing up, I think it was Haas who was on first, dove back. The ball would have went in
Mm-hmm.
the dugout. So Francisco
Yeah.
Alvarez was right there. I love to see him engaged. And that's exactly what you want to see him just working on his defensive skill set. His framing is getting a lot better as well. This is a guy, and Keith even said it, right? Shout out Keith. He was basically saying how, a lot of people wrote this kid off for his defensive, liabilities, what they saw in the minor leagues. And he's coming out here in the major leagues and performing very well back there. So I want to shout him out. That was probably one of the only positives I did see today, though. So it is a somber live. It's a somber live stream. Um, First game, Lucchese didn't have it. The ball was carrying. Did you see game one? The ball was carrying
Yeah,
out of
the
that
ball was.
stadium.
Yep. Yeah, it pretty much. It felt like anything hit in the air could go out.
Exactly. As soon as I saw that Canna home run, I was like, all right, listen, this ball's carrying right now. Cause I was like, that's a fly ball any other game, any other
Yeah.
park, right? So
If Ken is hitting
ball
bombs,
was
something's wrong.
exactly that's what I didn't want to say it indirectly, but yes, correct. So but the ball was carrying, so Lucchese got roughed up a little bit. Buck had mentioned that he wanted to save Lucchese from going out there an extra inning because he wants him ready for Sunday. I'm
I
not
saw.
sure if we're. I'm not sure. I know we had a discussion about this. Amish. I'm not sure if we're in the part of the season where Lucchese's coming in for his third start and he needs to be saved an extra inning. I mean, I could be misspeaking there, but that was a little bit questionable to me. And then obviously, like I said, Ottavino blew it. I'm not going to rag on Ottavino. I don't want to rag on Ottavino. I don't want to rag about anybody in the bullpen. They've been serving their purpose this whole season and they've been carrying this team. So I'm not going to rag on Ottavino. It was just unfortunate because obviously Lindor hit that 2-run home run. Everything was looking great. And then obviously we ended up dropping the game. But game two was a completely different story. I told you, man. I know we chatted about this back and forth, but Scherzer, this is a problem. I know he's not going anywhere, but he is on my short leash, like short leash. Like I get his age and everything, but we're paying the guy 40 M's, man. We're paying the guy 40 M's.
You got to
I
do
don't
better.
know. You got to do better, especially for a veteran guy that's trying to show leadership to a guy like Senga right behind him. I mean, if he does well, that puts a lot of pressure off of Senga, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Ever since the end of last season, obviously that Braves series, the Padres series, and then even this year, he's just been very inconsistent. He's gotten out of some jams, but just watching him pitch day to day, like in his starts, he's missing a lot of spots. Today, for
Mm-hmm.
example, I think in the first inning, second inning, I forgot which one it was. I think it was the first inning. Javier Baez got up 0-2 pitch. It was supposed to be high. Francisco Alvarez set up high to get him to chase. Obviously, we all know Javier Baez is going to chase that high pitch. He left it
Yeah, he
right over the middle
basically
of the
threw it
plate.
in the middle. Yeah.
He threw it right over the middle of the
Yeah.
plate. I think Javi hit it to the warning track. He's so lucky that the game wasn't like game one and the wind wasn't pushing out as hard because that ball leaves the yard. And that's an honest mistake that you can't make to a team like the Braves if you go up against the Braves. To the Tigers, you might get away with it more often than not. Clearly not, obviously, today with how today went, but just generally speaking, um, you can't do that to the better teams. So six earned runs in 3 1/3 innings pitched. Obviously, like you said, he might have a little bit of rust. He's coming back off of the suspension, but you can't give up 6 runs in 3 1/3 and bring your bullpen out, force the manager to pull you and bring the bullpen out that early. So that is not
Yeah.
acceptable. The lineup, like we said, I hate criticizing the lineup, but we were all left sort of head scratching our heads in terms of why Guillorme's batting ahead of Alvarez. And I kind of gave Buck the benefit of the doubt because the difference between 8 and 9 when a key situation comes up with runners in scoring position with 2 outs is really hard to decipher between the 8th and 9th inning because I've counted so many times where Tomas Nido has come up in the 9th spot with runners in scoring position and he failed. So I didn't want to harp on that, but it just so happened to be that Guillorme got up twice in the span of the first 4 innings with runners in scoring position, and he didn't get the job done per usual. So What's wrong with Scherzer, Jesse? I don't know if you want to address that, Amish. I'm gonna let you go ahead. I've been kind of going a little bit of a rant here, but there's lots wrong with Scherzer right now, and I don't think his confidence. I think his confidence is one of them. So
Yeah, can't cheat anymore. I don't know about the cheat thing. I think. Well, let's face it. He is old. He is coming at the tail end of his career. I don't think he's done yet. I'm going to give him this start just because he hadn't pitched in so long. But if he doesn't show me something in the next couple starts, I'm done. Like, I know he's not going anywhere, but then I can't make any more excuses. Like, it's been long enough, bro. Like, you got to show up. Like, now's the time.
I mean, no, like I said, you're getting paid 40 M's, man. You're getting paid 40 M's. You're getting paid to be a leadership kind of role, a leadership kind of guy while you perform to earn those 40 M's, right? Thankfully, we have Verlander tomorrow. I can't imagine to see what the Mets Twitter reaction is going to be if Verlander goes out there and gets shelled.
I really hope that doesn't happen. I think I might have to take a Twitter break if that happens,
Yeah,
man.
I agree.
I don't have
Listen,
the
man,
mental capacity to deal with that shit.
I completely get where Mets Twitter is coming from. The expectations are lofty. They're always going to be lofty. Obviously, when you have Steve Cohen spending 400 M's plus on a roster, it's May 3rd, man. It's May 3rd. Every team has ups and downs. One win streak,
Yeah,
1 7-game win streak,
yeah, it
five, six,
changes
7 game win
everything.
streak fixes everything. Everything. All the problems that the Mets had last week suddenly evaporates with a win streak. So I'm not gonna sit here and I'm gonna call out.
Mad
I'm
Max
gonna
is the
call
best
out.
Max.
Yeah, shout out Patty and NYC, Mad Max.
What's up,
Listen, I'm
Patty?
gonna call. I'm gonna call out the negatives. I'm gonna do that just because as a fan, I have to watch this team day in and day out. The harping on them day to day. Tomorrow's a new day. That's the great thing about baseball, right? We get to watch the
Mm-hmm.
stinker today. We get to watch two stinkers today, right? Because of the rain. And then we get to go watch arguably one of the best pitchers in our generation and Justin Verlander go toss tomorrow for his debut as a New York Met. So there's always something to look forward to in baseball season. Just, with the over 162 games, it's just automatically how that is. But obviously, we're doing this post game to sort of call out what we see on a day-to-day basis, especially if we're going to be doing this more consistently. So obviously, we're gonna, there's plenty of pause. I just mentioned Alvarez staying in the game. Obviously, he hit the ball hard as well in his last at bat. I think that was the highest exit velo Gary said on the broadcast of any Met today. Obviously, it was right at the second baseman. He stopped it, but hard hit ball, staying in the game defensively. Vogelback staying hot, had a RBI double. It's good to see the DH spot producing. That's one thing that I want to segue into real quick. I know Escobar's been on the bench relatively a lot recently, actually, and then Tommy Pham's kind of taken over that DH role. I was reading somewhere, I think it was Jolly Olive on Twitter. He was pointing out some Eduardo Escobar metrics over his last, I think he's like 6 for his last 19 from the right side with a couple home runs. I want to see. You and I both have addressed this. I'm not a Tommy Pham guy, right? I don't know why he's on this team. I'm not sure why he was ever brought on. But
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see Vogelback platooning with Escobar because I said it last year. Escobar is a much more capable hitter from the right side of the plate than he is from the left side. Obviously, he hits the long ball
Definitely.
really well from the left side, but as a pure hitter, Escobar, he's capable of hitting at the major league level, obviously from both sides of the plate, but especially from the right side. So if Vogelback can stay hot, and if Buck wisens up and he platoons Escobar against the lefties when he's hitting from the right side, I, I want to see that. You at this point of the season, I think it's really early and it gives Buck a chance to experiment with things, right? I went on James's
Yeah.
live yesterday. Shout out James Nolan. He's got his YouTube page. I forgot to add James Nolan Live, James Nolan Sports,
I
one of
think
those.
it's
Go
the
shout
Nolan
him out.
show.
The Nolan Show. Go subscribe to his channel. I was talking to some Mets, Giants, and Knicks with him yesterday. Um, I told him on that live, and I put a snippet on my Twitter. I was like, if you're gonna experiment with the lineup, this is the chance to do it early on in the season. And I said that Lindor looks better from the 2 spot. He has pretty much since last year. And McNeil's a capable 3-hitter. You're not going to get the power out of McNeil from the 3 spot as you would with Lindor, but he's going to get on base for Pete, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if you have any thoughts on that, but obviously, like we could see Francisco Lindor opened up with a double. Obviously, he got thrown out there on a great play from the right fielder and Baez collectively, but he opened the game up with a rip from the 2-hole, and I think that could be something that Buck experiments with and moves and implements moving forward. Obviously, now Buck is pretty stubborn. We know that he's an older manager. He likes to stick with his ways. He only bats Lindor in the 2 slot when Marte's out. We discussed this already, but I think that I want to see some adjustments out of Buck Showalter, and I think now is the time to do it. So, what are your thoughts on that, Amish?
Yeah, well, I'll go back because there's still a lot I wanted to say, and I'm just trying to gather my thoughts. I honestly, I was initially I was thinking of coming on here and just going off, but can't be a hypocrite.
Yeah,
That's not me. That's
yeah.
not really my style, and I'm not ready to do that with this team quite yet. I don't think they're a
But
bad baseball team.
we could though if we wanted to though.
We could, but I'm not ready to go there yet. I think this team is a good baseball team that's in a bad stretch, and I think they can turn it around. But I do need to see some things change. I don't. Buck needs to make more adjustments. To your point about the lineup, he is so set in his ways. When Marte starts, he always hits second. He always plays right field. The dude is obviously banged up, and he looks like shit in right field. We didn't even mention the fact that, yeah, Ottavino blew that game, but it's kind of Marte's fault. There's no way he shouldn't have made that damn catch. Like, that's ridiculous. Agreed. And if he's not going to be able to play the field and you still want his bat in there, fine. But put him at DH. And for the love of God, why does he have to hit second? I understand there was a story last year that Marte wanted to be in one spot and he wanted to stay there. Okay, fine. But why does that spot have to be the 2-hole? Lindor, I think, is the perfect 2-hole hitter. I agree with you. You stick him in that 2-hole, stick McNeil at 3, stick Marte at 5 or even 6. Like, put him down in the order. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as far as the Alvarez point, no, it doesn't make that much of a difference. But there's no reason a hitter as bad as Luis Guillorme should hit anywhere other than ninth. If he's in the lineup, he should be the 9-hole hitter. I don't care how young Alvarez is. Guillorme stinks. Guillorme and Nito are the 2 worst baseball players on this team by far, I think. And
Agreed.
They just, if they're in the lineup, if they're in the lineup together, that's bad enough. But they should be very bottom of the lineup. That's just my opinion. So I need Buck to make some adjustments. As far as the Escobar thing, I don't mind him DHing from the right hand side. I think he is a much better right-handed hitter for sure. Pham, while he did have a good game the first game today, I don't trust him going forward. I just don't. I'm sorry, I can't. Maybe he'll prove us wrong. Hopefully he will, but I'd like to see some adjustments. And I'm sorry, but I keep seeing Vientos hammer AAA pitching and wonder why the hell we can't at least see what he's got. I mean, we have nobody from the right hand side DH killing it right now. I don't think Mauricio they think is ready, but I don't see why Vientos can't get a shot. The pitching, there's nothing we can really do. Like, our pitching is what it is. I think we can trades until closer to the deadline. I don't think anybody's really making any moves that are gonna be game changers. So
not any big moves this early.
Yeah,
certainly not.
Yeah, it's too early for that. So we just gotta wait and see.
We're limited. We're limited what we can do with the pitching staff, anyways. We don't have any prospects to call up that are at least major league ready, right? Mixing it up, figuring out the adjustments that have had to be made. I agree, yeah, and I think we all are expecting. I was about to say Tom Thibodeau. I think the situations are very similar about Tom Thibodeau making adjustments versus Buck Showalter, right? But Nats were 19-31 after 50 games when they won. Y'all will be just fine. Plenty of time left. I agree. But the thing is like, over 162, you'll drive yourself crazy as a baseball fan with overreacting. And I've gotten into that trap over the last few years, especially when the Braves started to catch up to the Mets last year. I was one of those
Mm-hmm.
fans who was just like, here we go again. Here we go again. I was negative Nancy, and I'll own up to that. And I ended up being right in the end, right? The Braves did catch up and we didn't win the division. But regardless, it's May 3rd. I hope we can trust Buck to make the adjustments. I hope that we can trust him to not stick in, with his own ways and not be stubborn in terms of at least trying to make adjustments and trying to tweak some things. At the end of the day, man, he's a veteran manager. He's been around this game long enough to make these sorts of decisions and make these sorts of calls. So regardless of whoever wants to stay where, like you were saying with Marte, at this point you're paying Buck Showalter to make the decision. So whatever he say goes, right? So what do you think about? I know this conversation came up on James's live, and I was discussing it. I forgot who mentioned it. It might have been Keith as well from Shane Son. Shout out them. Would you even experiment Marte in the 9 hole to be a second leadoff hitter, or is that something that's out of the question as of right now? Because I was thinking that if Marte doesn't bat fifth in a potential Lindor to the 2 hole, then Beatty could be a good five hitter too. But that may be a little bit too much pressure on him this early on in his career. I don't know though.
Yeah.
Everything's on the table as far as I'm concerned right now.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I feel that as well. I like to think in terms of like when it comes to the Mets, I like to how the manager thinks and how the organization thinks. I don't see Buck ever putting a kid in the 5 hole, not early. It's just not his way. And I sure as hell don't see him sticking Marte ninth. I don't hate the idea. I just don't think he'll do it. He caters to the vets so much that I think in his head that would be like disrespectful and he wouldn't do it. I just don't see him ever sticking Marte in the 9 hole.
Well, I mean, even when you saw Beatty get called up, he refused to speak to the reporters there for a couple days about the call up. You know what I mean? It
Yeah, he
was
didn't
sort
even
of
want to
head
talk
scratching.
about it. Yeah.
I don't understand why not. I mean, everyone's riled up about it. Everyone wanted Beatty to come up, and you're going to sit here and not answer questions about the kids when they call up. At least just say something positive about them. Like I saw them killing it in the minor leagues. We'll see how they fit into the club, see where I can put them in, and hopefully they can make a contribution. Something to that effect. But just
Yeah.
flat out saying I'm not going to talk about it. I don't know. I wasn't a fan of that, but
So Jesse
why not
says, why
McNeil?
not McNeil 1, Lindor 2, and Pete 3? I don't hate the idea, but I like Nimmo gets on base, and I like that out of my 1 hole hitter. McNeil does too, but doesn't draw any walks. Right now, Nimmo's in a big slump though, so I don't know. Maybe again, I'm so used to seeing that Buck trot out that same top 5 that. Well, more top 4 because he switches up 5, 6, 7 a little bit, but those same top 4, if Marte's starting, it's always Nimmo, Marte, Lindor, Pete. Nimmo, Marte, Lindor. It's like he refuses to deviate from that unless Marte
Well,
is not in the lineup.
I'll tell you why, to go back to Jesse's point about why he won't go McNeil, Lindor, Pete. And I think maybe this is the answer to why he won't go Lindor in the 2 spot consistently, is that we're going to go back to the same conversation about power, right? The only 2
Yeah,
power hitters on this team consistently are Lindor and Pete, right? In terms of home run potential, which is where the Mets have, in the playoffs last year, obviously, like, I don't want to even bring up the Braves, but they got boppers in their lineup, right? And I think
yeah,
my whole tune this offseason was, and the reason why I was so hype on the Correa thing, again, I'm going to bring it up one last time, was the home run potential. Again, enough of Correa. That's a whole different topic. And obviously, we've talked about that, Nelson, we've talked about that already, and that's in the past. But the reason why he won't go Lindor 2, Pete 3 is that who's going to be batting cleanup? I mean, realistically,
yeah.
right?
I don't think you can move Pete out of the 4 hole. I think you can Lindor 2, McNeil 3. Listen,
Right.
Marte has been a power guy, and Marte can hit 20 something homers. I don't know why. Seriously, something's wrong with him. he's not shown any pop. He doesn't look like himself. And
Well, he's injured.
Beatty
I
and
mean,
yeah, he is.
you think he's injured, and I think he's injured too. And I think he's been injured ever since that Padres series last
Yeah,
year.
since he hit his head. Oh, you going back to last year? Yeah, for sure.
I'm going back to last year when he slid in that Padres series. The rest of last year, he did not run a single ball out. He wasn't running hard down the line.
Yeah,
Obviously, he's an asset to this lineup, but we're not obviously, and he's also getting up there in age, but he hasn't been running any balls out. All of a sudden, recently, he looks like he's, not playing a good right field. I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if there was a report that comes out soon that Marte has been dealing with an injury and he's going to do a little IL stint. Maybe not this week, maybe not the next one, but if he doesn't get right, somewhere soon. So
yeah. And honestly, it might be for the best. I mean, we need him contributing, and we need him to contribute. And if he's not going to do that, then he's not doing us any service. Just trotting out there playing at 50% or whatever he's at. But as far as power too, with Beatty and Alvarez, they both provide some pop as well. So it's not like we have no power hitters at this point. We just need Buck to continue to play the power hitters at this point, which so far he's such a starter now. It seems like that's the case. So we're good there. We just need to stop seeing Tomas Nido play so damn much.
yeah, I mean, Tomas Nido, I just have seen way too. I just see the production out of like division rivals getting out of their catchers with Real Muto and Murphy, and I'm just like, we're sitting here with Tomas Nido every day, right? Obviously, Alvarez is playing more now, but it's just like, I don't know, man. We've had endless conversations about this, like, offline.
Yeah, we could. Yeah,
we could go on and on about it, but this is not the place to do that. Obviously, the Mets have who they have. They have to work with who they have to work with, and it starts with the starting pitching. Really, I think it just starts with the starting pitching. They have to be better. So
looks like we have a few more comments. Let's see here. Patty says groin injury. Yeah, he had double groin surgery after the season. So that was a problem. Then he got hit in the head when that slide. Who were we playing when? Was it the Dodgers? When he knocked?
No, it's the Padres. There's the Padres. When he went down, wasn't it?
You talking about this season?
No, last season.
No, I'm talking about this season.
Oh, this season.
No, okay. I know that. This season when he slid into third base and he was out for a few days with that neck injury.
At home. It was the Marlins.
Okay, it was the Marlins. Okay.
Gene Segura, yeah.
Yeah, so we have that he's dealing with too. That might not. I don't know. He just doesn't look right. Jesse says Dito's a scrub. I don't disagree.
What was the nickname he gave on the live yesterday? What was it? Need to go.
Need to go. Yeah, I heard Tomas needs to go or stuff like that. Yeah, better than Keibert Ruiz.
Dude, listen, I'll take Keibert Ruiz, man.
You got to be able to laugh about it too, man.
But yeah, I mean, listen, we'll see what we got. Justin Verlander on the mound tomorrow. Hopefully we can salvage a game. Being swept by the Tigers would be absolutely disgraceful. It's a shame that we played down to our competition so much. Obviously, with the Nationals, we lost 2 of 3 to them. Yeah. It's just been a consistent theme. I put a tweet out there early. I just like the incredible losses we've had to inferior teams going back to like 2021. Remember when Diaz had that heartbreaking blown save in 2021? DeGrom had the stinker in 2022 against the A's.
Which heartbreaking blown save in 2021?
Yeah.
He had a few.
He had a couple, for sure. And then obviously this season, obviously we're not beating the teams we're supposed to be beating. So
our Rockies correspondent has commented. The Rockies are in a dogfight. Keep us posted, Josh. We're dying to know what happens with the Rockies.
For those of y'all who don't know, Josh is our Rockies correspondent, so we're paying them the big bucks to cover the Rockies for us because we don't really
stop
feel like
losing to us. I want the first lottery odds. I don't think baseball doesn't do a lottery yet, do they?
No, they do. They just changed it this past year. It was
Oh,
the
did
first
they
year that they
just
did the
change it?
lottery.
Okay,
They just
nice.
changed
Oh,
it. Yeah,
there you go.
so no longer they're following the NBA's footsteps. So
Interesting.
anti-tanking MLB. But
All
yeah, man. I
right.
mean,
Well, go
anything
ahead.
else that we need to get off our chest for this post game? I think pretty much I can boil it down to two things: Ottavino's blown save game 1, and then Max Scherzer stunk game 2. So
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It was not the Nets get screwed. Well, the Nets have some talent, man. They'll. I give it a couple years, and they'll be a team to contend with.
I don't know about a couple years. I'll give him a little bit more than that, but Mackenzie Gore is a good start for sure.
Trying to be
Mackenzie Gore is a good
nice.
start. But yeah, man, I don't really have anything to say. I just want to see the kids play more. Francisco Alvarez staying locked in, Bug being a veteran manager, seeing him kind of stay locked in behind the plate. Obviously, calling a great game again, framing well. That should get him some more playing time consistently. I'd like to see him start playing on back-to-back days.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, the situation with Narvaez when he gets back is going to be one to monitor. I'm really hoping they don't keep 3 catchers on the roster, on the active roster, and I really hope they don't send down Alvarez. I don't think that's an option at this point. I don't think Steve
I'll say
Cohen would
this:
even allow that.
I'd
But
rather they keep 3 catchers than send down Alvarez and keep Nito up.
agreed. I agree with that as well. So we'll see. It's something to monitor. But to everyone watching, if you're even not even watching this live, if you're watching the replay, relax, calm down. We always got tomorrow. Tomorrow, Justin Verlander's on the mound. The game of baseball is just one that'll make you lose your mind real quick, right? You're considered successful. 3, if you're a player, 3 out of every 10 at bats, getting a base hit. The same thing with fandom. I feel like it corresponds pretty well. Obviously, there's going to be ups and downs, and the team you can't lose your mind after every loss. You'll be losing your
Oh.
mind. How many days out of the season? You'll be losing them 70, 80 times out of the season. So not a healthy thing to do. Mets Twitter's got to relax. I know me saying that's not going to change a damn thing about that, but it's got to be said. I just got to put it on
I'm
there.
sure that Twitter Spaces are. I'm sure the Twitter Spaces are going off about.
As we speak.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. I know that for a fact.
I think I think I'm going to try to avoid that. I don't know. Sometimes I'm just so curious. It's like a train wreck. You just got to watch sometimes. But I try not to. I try not to get involved in those when just watch from afar and listen to the insanity.
I agree. Well, I don't got anything for this post game. If you want to start doing this consistently, it's something that I definitely be willing to do. Whether it's on my channel or whether it's on yours, we can maybe do it congruently at some point. Verlander's on Jesse's fantasy team. I'm in a dogfight in my own fantasy matchup. I got Cole and Alcantara heading my pitching staff, so we'll see. Hopefully, better seasons from them. Cole's been shoving, but Alcantara's been kind of struggling here and there. I think he had an IL stint too. So, but anyways, I appreciate you, Nelson, always for having me on, and let's close this thing out.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you too. For anybody that tuned in, thank you so much. Please, if you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe to my channel at Amish Country Mets Fan. Subscribe to Chris's channel at the WTS Pod. I've got the scrolls showing you where to go and everything. Obviously, there's a lot of promo all over the screen here, so you should be able to get to where you need to go. Follow us on Twitter as well. We appreciate all of you. We're going to try definitely. I agree we do these more often. It's easier for me if they do the earlier games, like the 6:40 starts, but we'll see. We'll get something going for sure.
Sounds good. All right. Appreciate it, buddy.
All right. Appreciate it. Good night, guys. Good night, Patty, by the way. Patty says good night. And Josh says the Rockies have the bases loaded. Thanks, Josh. Shoot me a DM. Let me know what happens.
Let's go, Knicks. Let's go, Knicks.
Let's go, Mets. Let's go, Mets. See you guys.